In a nation dominated by Six Flags parks and the rapidly growing chain of Hershey parks, it's the smaller, independent parks which really bring character to local areas. Chain parks have their purpose for the broader region, don't get me wrong, but smaller, more independent parks serve the cities that they were built off of in a better way. It's important to look at these parks and appreciate them for what value they bring to the country. This is the first video of two, which is looking at some of my favorite independent parks in the United States. Today we're covering the gems which are on the east side of the Mississippi River. There will be another video in a few weeks which will cover the west side of the Mississippi. These smaller, more family owned parks tend to have a lot of charm, which I love, and especially the scenery of these parks you'll see is really great. Now, Hershey could easily be on here, but that park is so massive and it's owned by a large corporation anyway, so it's not on here. So it's a bit of a spoiler, but you guys will just have to deal with it. Of course, before diving into it, I wanted to go over some honorable mentions which I couldn't put on the list for one reason or another. Hot start, I know, considering that this is a video about independent gems. That's why this can only be an honorable mention for now and nothing more. Great Escape is the least Six Flags park possible. Well, now it's Enchanted Parks, I guess, but it's still a chain, so it doesn't really matter. It's a smaller park vibe that fits perfectly with some of the parks on the actual list. This park has a decent catalog of rides, especially with their newish Gravity Group Family roller coaster. The park is absolutely beautiful, sitting on the Lake George region of New York, about an hour outside of Albany. This is a park which I definitely believe deserves more love for what it does well. Now, it's not the perfect park by any means, but it does have its quirks, which I think work really well for it. The Fun Spot Parks are a small chain of three regional parks, all with one standout attraction. Now, for Fun Spot Atlanta, that marquee attraction, Air Force One, is practically the only thing there, especially for enthusiasts. For the two Florida parks, they're rather similar, although I believe White Lightning is more overlooked than it deserves to be, as most of the praise goes to Mindblower, its counterpart at the other park. The main thing holding these parks back is they just don't truly have anything that makes them really special. They're both fine smaller parks, there just isn't really anything stand out about the locations or park experiences offered there. I have a similar gripe with Beach Bend as I do with the Fun Spot parks. It tends to just lack a little bit of character. Looking around the premise, it happens to look pretty similar to a fairground. The park's very flat with a lot of rides that don't look particularly permanent. Now, at least there is a respectable water park to accompany the park. The primary draw for the park is Kentucky Rumbler. For some reason, these small parks love to have an excellent small-scale wooden coaster. Kentucky Rumbler does not get enough love, and this is most definitely a product of its location. If you're ever in the area, it's definitely worth dropping by the park for that alone, but the rest of the park just lacks a little bit for now. Unfortunately, this park is operated for Hershey now, but it did start out as an independent park in 1954. Storyland is a small theme park in New Hampshire, which is perfect for a family to spend a day at. The park may only have 30 attractions and two roller coasters, but its primary claim to relevance is Rorosaurus, a family wooden coaster like Oscar's Wacky Taxi at Sesame Place. The park has a great location and undeniable charm, but it is unfortunately part of a chain now, which is why it can't be part of the list. That is, however, the last of the honorable mentions I wanted to add, so everything from this point on is going to be starting the actual list, which I did not decide to do any sort of a ranking on them, I just wanted to list them out, so pay no mind as to which order they come in. So without further ado, let's get started on the actual list, beginning with Holiday World. Holiday World may have been the easiest selection on the whole list. This is one of the few larger parks in the US which is owned independently. Holiday World has outgrown the typical independent park with a large lineup of 49 rides and slides, including one of the most well-known wooden roller coasters in the world. Holiday World has everything to offer with uniquely themed attractions, easygoing family vibes, lots of trees, and a sizable water park. The park has always been very well maintained and remains a destination park for a lot of enthusiasts. Not much is needed to be said about this park to justify its position on the list. It's a well-known player in the game with very little left to prove, although you should try to catch a trimless voyage ride during Hollywood Nights if you have the chance. I've heard it's a great time. Knoebels is another rather well-known park which makes the list, and who could have guessed it? It has a really good wooden coaster. Knoebels is a much larger scale version of Waldemere, which may or may not also be on the list. The location of the park is immaculate, the vibes walking around are so joyful, and it has a distinct character about it. This is one of the few parks left which you can truly enter from anywhere you want and just walk around. The food here is really good and extremely well priced. There's nothing really to dislike about the park, Knoebel should absolutely be a must-visit park. I highly recommend riding the chairlift at sunset too, but beyond that, you can't really go wrong with the park. It's a perfect place to spend a day with your family, and you'll notice that I do tend to enjoy parks which are not asphalt gardens, and this park couldn't be further from it. It fits really well into the landscape, and I absolutely love that. I wanted to get at least one park in the list which represents the East Coast boardwalks, so why not go for one of the biggest? Ironically, this park directly contrasts Knoebels when looking at how it juts out into the water. The park is somewhat awkwardly laid out across three piers, but there's plenty to do on each of them. This is actually one of rather few parks which have a rideable SLC. In a crowded New Jersey boardwalk market, Maurice sets itself apart by being a more thrilling and complete park when compared to its local competition. The park has a total of 7 roller coasters and 55 attractions, albeit a lot of them are rather small, but there's at least something for everyone to enjoy that way. The water park on the piers is nothing to scoff at either. All in all, Maurice Piers is the best a boardwalk park has to offer in the world, maintaining seaside charm while still delivering a complete park experience. Canopy Lake Park is back to the usual in terms of setting. Very pretty landscape surrounds the park, with the lake fitting into the surroundings perfectly. It is a shame that the Canopy Corkscrew is now gone, limiting the thrill offerings that the park has, but there are still some good options left. And hey, they might be getting an SBF Visa coaster in 2026, which totally replaces that loss from 5 years ago. Yankee Cannonball is a classic, turning 90 years old, and Untamed fits perfectly in the park, turning 15 this year. The park originally started as a botanical garden in 1902. While it has changed substantially since its inception, the park has retained some of that old school character. With a total of 46 attractions, the park still has a sizable lineup and deserves some love, even if it isn't a coaster hotspot. Now, if you know anything about this park, it's likely because of their CCI wooden coaster Excalibur. This park is practically the New England Waldermere, a very small park with 29 dry rides, 41 with the water park included, and only one standout ride. Up in Maine, this park is very off the beaten path, which is why I made sure to include it in here. There are only two roller coasters in the park, the aforementioned Excalibur and a typical Wild Mouse. It's a small park with pretty scenery, and it's great for families. There's really nothing not to like about the park. The park is typically skipped unless you're in the area, but it deserves to mention what it does. Sadly, with this location, it has not seen the anticipated success, but hopefully it will remain open for a long time to come. Altamere is another lovely regional park with an excellent wooden coaster. If you've ever heard of this park, it's definitely because of Ravine Flyer 2, and rightfully so. The rest of the park doesn't have anything too special to offer, although there is a respectable water park if you're into that. The entire property lies on the shore of Lake Erie. It is a very small but fully developed park, but the space is used very well. Surprisingly, the park has fit in 4 roller coasters, all of which can be enjoyed by the entire family, although Ravine Flyer 2 can have some serious bite day to day. The walkthrough attraction Pirates Cove is also worth your time if you buy a wristband. Just don't touch the barrels. This is a fully cashless park, which can be very inconvenient, so do keep that in mind if you decide to travel to this park. Editing update here. Waldameer is actively clearing land in this area, which seems to be correlated to some sort of Vekoma roller coaster. Now, I would imagine that this is going to be another family roller coaster opening in 2027, but either way, that would give another reason to travel to the park, if true. Seabreeze is a charming lakeside park containing 35 rides and slides and 4 roller coasters. Sitting on the shore of Lake Ontario just outside of Rochester, this is another park with some beautiful scenery. There's one park which does not have a distinct home run type of attraction, which gives the park a name for itself. Everything at the park just works together. There's a couple cute family coasters, some standard flat rides, and a handful of pavilions for groups to eat at. Funny enough, Seabreeze is adding a new dueling slide complex for 2026, which is similar to what slides Waldemere is also adding this year. Fun little connection between these two lakefront parks. There's nothing truly exceptional about the property, but everything just works together very well and crafts a great family park. This park has perfected the family atmosphere. Santa's Village feels as though it could be connected to Storyland, especially only being about 45 minutes apart from each other, but they aren't. For all I know, this park is also not connected to the one with the same name in Canada. However, they are so similar that everything I say here also pertains to that park. The park is not very large, but there's plenty to do with a family here. The charm is off the charts in this park. They have a punch card to explore the park searching for elk statues, for example. A scavenger hunt in a park is just so cool in my opinion, and they did it so well here. The family Vekoma is the only real pull to the park for coaster enthusiasts, but there is much more to love here. Everything here is themed to the North Pole, and it is just so cute. I mean, they have penguin trash cans. How can you not love that? The park is low on attractions, but easily makes up for it by fully immersing you in this woodsy wonderland. Absolutely worth your time to come visit this gem. I've not been to all these parks, so please let me know in the comments below if there's anything which I may have missed that makes these parks special, any parks that I may have missed that you think deserve to be on this list, and any parks which you think should be on the West Coast list when that comes back out. And with that, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all next week, and I hope that you enjoy it.